Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Family Storytime today. My name's Tara, and today I'm going to be talking to you about birds. Now, the wonderful thing about birds is that they're so different. There are many colors, shapes, sizes of birds, and if you listen closely, you can hear birds almost anywhere you live. And if you look closely enough, you can see birds just about everywhere. And if you can't, you can always read about them. So we're going to do that today. In the morning, I hear birds singing through the open window. Birds can be yellow, or blue, or brown, or red, or even green, I think. Sometimes they're so black that you can't even see their eyes or their feathers, just their shapes. Those look a little like silhouettes. Birds can be big, like the flamingo, or little, like the hummingbird, or any size in between, really. Once I saw 7 birds on the telephone wire. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They didn't move, and they didn't move, and they didn't move. And I looked away for just 1 second, and they were gone. If birds made marks with their tail feathers when they flew, just think what the sky would look like. All those colors swooping around. Beautiful. If clouds were birds, the sky would look like this, or this. It looks like the cloud birds are flying during the daytime, and they're asleep at nighttime, just like us. Sometimes in winter, a bird in a tree looks like one red leaf left over. I bet that's a cardinal up there in the snowy tree. And here we have a bunch of blackbirds in a tree. If there are lots of birds in one tree and they all fly away at the same time, it looks like they yelled, "Surprise!" If I were a bird, I'd ask where all the other birds go when it's stormy and they can't get to their nests. I've wondered that before. I like to pretend I'm a bird. Now, I can't really fly, but I can do this. I can sing! La 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 la! That is the end, my friends, of Kevin Henniokus's Birds. Now let's go to a rhyme. Today's rhyme is going to be about 2 little bluebirds. And if you would like to join along, you have 2 little bluebirds right here on your hands. This is going to be Jack, and this is going to be Jill. And we're going to start with a common version of this, where they're going to be starting on a hill, but then we're going to learn some opposites and sing those. So here we go with 2 little bluebirds. 2 little bluebirds sitting on a hill, one named Jack, one named Jill. Fly away, Jack, fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack, and come back, Jill. They were just fluttering along. Okay, now we are going to put them on a cloud, and the words that we are going to sing are going to be quiet and loud. 2 little bluebirds sitting on a cloud, one named quiet, one named loud. Fly away, quiet. Fly away, loud. Come back, quiet. Come back, loud. Did you like that one? I like that one. Okay. Now we're going to have them sitting on a cup, and we are going to have them down and up. 2 little bluebirds sitting on a cup, one named down, one named up. Fly away down, fly away up, come back down, come back up. All right, and our last one, they're going to be sitting on a stick. And the first one's gonna be slow. The second one's gonna be quick. 2 little bluebirds sitting on a stick. One named slow. One named quick. Fly away slow. Fly away quick. Come back slow. Come back quick. And that was it for our rhyme today. Let's go to the next story. Well, that was fun to learn about some opposites, but let's do something different now with our next story. This is called Nothing Like a Puffin, and we're going to see how things are a little bit different and the same. The story is by Sue Soltis, and pictures are by Bob Kohler. And there are a lot of the puffin. Nothing like a puffin. Look! A puffin! What a marvelous creature! One of a kind and amazing. Indeed, there is nothing like a puffin. Take, for example, this ladder. A ladder is nothing like a puffin. It has steps you can climb to get somewhere high. A house is also nothing like a puffin. A house has windows and doors, and there are sinks and chairs and beds. A house is a place you can live in. How about a newspaper? A newspaper, to be sure, is nothing like a puffin. A newspaper shaped A newspaper, to be sure, is nothing like a puffin. A newspaper is shaped like a rectangle and made out of paper. Looks like he's enjoying eating it too. A newspaper has pages and it's black and white. But wait, a puffin is black and white too. What are the chances? A newspaper is something like a puffin after all. Oh, and he's not very happy that his newspaper got chewed. Here he comes. A pair of jeans for sure is nothing like a puffin. Jeans are blue. Jeans have pockets and 2 legs. Oh no, don't say it. Puffins have 2 legs too. Not another thing that's something like a puffin. Uh-oh, look out for the goldfish. Of course, a goldfish is nothing like a puffin. A goldfish has scales and fins. A goldfish swims. It looks like a puffin can swim too. A goldfish is a tiny little bit like a puffin. So is a newspaper, and so is a pair of jeans. What could possibly be next? What's out the window here? Surely a shovel is nothing like a puffin. A puffin isn't made of wood and metal. A puffin doesn't have a handle or a blade for digging. Just a minute. A puffin uses its feet for digging. A shovel is a little something like a puffin. Who would have guessed? Oh no, look here. A snake is nothing at all like a puffin. A snake moves along without legs or wings. Snakes hatch from eggs, just like birds. Hold on a second. A puffin is a bird, so it must have hatched from an egg too. A snake is something like a puffin. That figures. How about that helicopter? A helicopter doesn't have 2 legs, and it can't swim. It's made out of metal and has a propeller. A helicopter flies. Watch out, this puffin can fly too. Even a helicopter is something like a puffin. Maybe a puffin is not so amazing after all. Maybe a puffin is not one of a kind. Look at this penguin. A penguin is black and white, just like a puffin. A penguin dives and swims. So does a puffin. A penguin is a bird. So is a puffin. A penguin has feathers and 2 wings and a beak and 2 feet. There's no getting around it. A penguin and a puffin are 2 of a kind. But look, a penguin can't fly. A penguin is more than a little like a puffin, more than, say, a newspaper or a goldfish, but it's not exactly like a puffin. So it's true. It's true after all. There's nothing like a puffin. And that is the end of the story, again called Nothing Like a Puffin. Now let's go to Mr. Dan at the aquarium to find out about a fish that is something like a puffin.
Hey, it's Dan. In our last story, we learned that puffins have a lot in common with other animals, and sometimes even with objects like a helicopter or a pair of pants. Its bodies are mostly black and white, and we have a fish here in the aquarium whose body is also mostly black and white. It's called the Henniokus butterfly. So let's dive in and take a closer look. These Henniokus butterflyfish have mostly black and white striped bodies, making them just like the puffin from our story. They also have bright yellow fins and a bright yellow back end. We have 2 of them here in our aquarium. Also known as long-fin bannerfish, these creatures are known for the long, white dorsal spine that arcs from their top. This dorsal fin, or spine, waves slightly when it swims, like a banner in the wind, which is how they get their name. In Greek, the word heniochus means carriage driver, because the fin resembles the reins used to drive a horse-drawn carriage. In the wild, these fish live in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, spanning from the waters of eastern Africa all the way into the mid-Pacific Ocean. They typically can be found in deep lagoons and coral reefs, or along more sheltered coastlines. These fish are omnivores, meaning they eat both plants and meat, such as invertebrates. Henniokus butterflies are usually around 6 to 8 inches in size and can live about 5 years. Thanks for visiting me here today at the aquarium. Now let's go back to Tara for another story.
Well, it was pretty easy to find that fish in the aquarium, wasn't it? But it's a little harder to find birds sometimes. This story is called How to Find a Bird. It's written by Jennifer Ward and illustrated by Diana Sudica. And we're going to see so many different kinds of birds. Starting with the owl here. He's winking at you. There are a lot of ways to find a bird. That's the wonderful thing about birds. To find a bird, first you'll want to blend in and move slowly. Can you see that there are some birds hiding here? There's some bitterns hiding in the cattails. There are some quails hiding down here by the rocks. Quiet is good too. So quiet you can hear a heartbeat. Don't just look up to find birds. Look down, low to the ground, where some birds forage, seeking things hiding in the earth. Like this robin here is looking for a delicious worm. Or the flicker is eating some ants. Tasty. Look down where some birds sneak snacks. Look down where some birds splash. And they're finding some fish and some clams. If you take a walk, watch your step. Some birds nest on the ground. Here's a red knot who has some eggs in a nest. Here's a killdeer. So don't just look up to find a bird. Sometimes you can find a bird by looking straight ahead. You'll have to have a very sharp eye, sharp as an eagle's eye. If you can't see them yet, you'll see them here. Birds are the cleverest blenders of all. At first, you may not see them, but if you wait, if you're still, and if you're quiet, you'll see. You're just as clever as a bird. So there was a whippoorwill up there. There was our one-eyed blinking owl, and there's a brown creeper, all in that tree. Of course, you can always look up to find a bird too. You can look up high in the sky where birds fly. And there are so many of them. Sometimes when you look up, you'll find birds simply sitting. Just like in our first story, where they were sitting, there were 7 sitting on a telephone wire. If you could perch high in the sky, what might you see? If you want to find a bird, don't be tricked. Some birds are stealthy. There it is. And wait a minute, where did it go? Was that even a bird? Sometimes you don't need to find a bird. It'll find you, especially if you have homes for them. Hello, bluebird. Some birds will announce their presence when they're near. I think my favorite is chickadee-dee-dee, chickadee-dee-dee. But there's also caw, caw. Or maybe they'll announce your presence when they see you. Hello, Jay. And if you feed them, they will come. Then all you have to do is have a window to find a bird. Some birds can't be found at all unless you read about them. These birds are extinct, which means they are no longer alive. There's a dodo bird. I didn't know some of these other birds were extinct, so I had to look that up. Made me a little sad. But the best way to find a bird, if you want to find one, is to close your eyes. Did you hear that? Did you hear that bird? And here are a whole bunch of different sounds. So the barred owl, it sounds like he said, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you?" And the robin sounds like it's saying, "Cheerily, cheerily, cheerily." The common yellowthroat says, "Witchety, witchety, witchety." So I love the different sounds they make. Oh, and of course the Canada goose says, "Honk." That's the wonderful thing about birds. And there's some information on the back here if you wanted to learn a little bit more about birds and finding birds out in the wild. So that was called How to Find a Bird. Now I hope you enjoyed story time today, and I hope if it's good weather outside, you might take a look outside yourself and see if you can find or hear some birds. Thanks for joining us for story time, my friends. We'll see you next time.